Did my $1 million Solana position get liquidated? And what do I think about the general crypto markets with obviously this big drawdown and the largest liquidation of the year occurring? Now, those of you that are new to the channel, I've been in crypto since 2016, and I hope you guys understand the crypto space and what's kind of going on because it's a very fast moving market. Now, the reason why I opened my Solana position, no, I did not get liquidated. It is a swing position. So that means that it's typically a lower leverage trade that you can obviously recollateralize or put more into the position to bring your average down. And most of my bigger trades I do in a swing type of manner, which basically means that I'm looking to hold these for the next couple weeks, couple months, etc., and then just write it up and take profits along the way. But at the same time, if you guys have my other socials, I also shared that I had a big short on Ethereum right before the huge crash because there was a very bearish signal right after the weekly close this past Sunday. And so I did make $16,000 yesterday off of that trade alone, but my Solana position still remains intact and I'm still very much bullish on Solana. I think that we're still gonna have a lot of chop going into the kind of like the end of this month, and then I do kind of expect that in Q4, we're gonna see a big bullish momentum when it comes to, hopefully Bitcoin is going to trade higher, and then with Bitcoin trading higher, it's going to bring up naturally all of the altcoins, and I really want Ethereum to break about 5,200. And I think in those price ranges, I think that will put Solana close to about $300, which is where my first take profit is going to be. And obviously, I think that putting crypto aside, we just have a very weird macro environment because not a lot's making sense because we have the stock market pretty much all-time highs. We have gold hitting all-time highs. And now Nvidia is basically just crushing it. They announced a $100 million purchase or loan with like ChatGPT, or I guess OpenAI. And so with all of this going on, it's really weird that Bitcoin is going down. It's not even trading sideways. And seemingly we have, Michael Saylor and all these big talking heads and huge crypto bulls. They're all buying Bitcoin, but the price just seems to go down and down and down. Now, why is that? In my personal opinion, I think that we're kind of on the cusp of a huge announcement. I don't know if that's going to happen maybe sometime this month, but I do think that there's been a lot of long leverage traders in the market. And so those of you that don't really know, Binance is a huge market maker. They're not necessarily the market maker, but they work hand in hand with Wintermute, which is one of the biggest market makers there is. And so if you track on-chain data, you would see that there's a lot of inflows from Binance into Wintermute. And shortly after that, there's always a massive crash. And the reason why this typically happens is because when you have a lot of leverage traders in the market and they're up so much in profit, the exchanges have to pay these people out. And it's very hard for them to want to keep those traders in the market because they just make so much money on the moves. They don't really care. Like Binance doesn't care if the price goes up super crazy or goes down a lot. They make money liquidating the traders. And so you can look at this as like a Pac-Man situation where they go against like the shorts or they go against the longs, and they're just making money off of liquidating those traders. So I think that in a space where we're about to get a lot of financial regulation, I think that Binance kind of sees the writing on the wall, which means they can't really do this much longer because it is pretty much market manipulation what they're doing, and there's no laws against it. So it's a weird thing to see because it all happens on chain, and most people don't really look at this. They just think like, oh, the price is going down, and retail is fed this narrative of why the price has to go down or why it has to go up. But the reality is when you have Binance being the big dog in the space, they can control whatever they want. They can paint the charts to look bearish or bullish, and they use this to basically trade against the investors. So I think that we're going to see a lot of chop along the way until all this like clear regulation gets approved or passed or whatever the case may be. But I wouldn't defer away from the crypto markets, and I wouldn't lose hope. Personally, I've never been more bullish on the outlook. The only thing that I would direct your attention to is if you're holding altcoins that just haven't performed at all, or they're down on their Bitcoin pairs, I would really suggest looking to reallocate those into either cryptos that have a lot of attention, that generate fees, or that are getting ETFs, or they're part of treasury companies, because that's where all the attention is going to be. It's going to be on Wall Street, because retail, obviously, like they have no money right now. Like everybody is just kind of like, it's difficult. It's a weird market because Wall Street and like the big guys, they have all the money, and investors and just retail people, they don't. So there's going to have some attention economy coins, I think, that are going to come out, but I don't think that happens until later on when interest rates continue to drop, which hopefully they do. So there's just a lot of turmoil. And if I was somebody that was new to the market, I would look into the safer place, so to speak, because you can still make money and it's going to safeguard how much the cryptos actually drop. So, would you rather your coin go up, conservatively 2 to 5x, or would you rather risk your coin going down 50 to 70% because you might get a little bit more returns? But it's a choice that you as the investor needs to make. And so all that to say, I'm not really concerned. I think that short term we can still see a lot more chop. There's a lot of liquidity to grab if Bitcoin goes below like 109. And as long as we're really above like 92K, I think that we still remain bullish on a higher time frame structure. My Solana position, I'm still very bullish. I'm still in the trade. I added to it when it dropped around I think it was 211, which is when I not re-entered, but I put more into the trade. And I tend to ride that up until that's pretty much invalidated. So I'll continue to update you guys and ask me your crypto questions. I'll see y'all soon.